So my husband is very jealous and it's starting to become annoying.
What's so annoying about it, Martha?
Okay, who's Martha?
Martha, you're Martha.
I don't know what that means.
You see, this is what I'm talking about. You're always acting like there's another woman in the room, but I'm only talking to you.
Okay, all right.
Are there other men?
I'm very annoyed. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Muslim Marriage Podcast, where we show you how to find and build a healthy marriage as a Muslim. I'm Zara Hassan.
And I'm AJ, and we've been married for 3.5 years. And if you like our videos, please comment and subscribe. Ask your questions below, and you may feature in one of our future episodes. And now, don't forget to check out our website, zahrahassancoaching.com.
And as a thank you, get your free copy of the Healthy Marriage Habits Guide available in the links below. Okay, so as you might have guessed, this episode we're going to be talking about jealousy.
Specifically, my jealousy.
Your jealousy?
Yes. I'm not willing to share my jealousy with anyone else.
So you're jealous about your jealousy?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you describe yourself as a jealous person?
I would describe most men as jealous people.
Okay. At what point does it cross the line from being jealous to controlling?
I would say, conceptually speaking, if you don't let her leave the house at any point in time in your entire life.
So just hostage.
Yeah, that's when it would become controlling.
So that's everything before hostage is fine.
Yeah. There are thresholds to this.
Apparently just the one.
Yeah.
So your thresholds are a little bit different from mine. Weirdly, I would consider myself a jealous person.
I think everyone's jealous.
Yeah. But it took me some time to grow out of that. And we'll talk a little bit about how to start to do that if you struggle with jealousy towards the after we go through the question. But it's common. It's a part of our nature, a part of our fitra to make sure that we want our spouse just for their attention, just for ourselves. So this is a normal part of the human experience.
Yeah.
But to answer the question, or one of the questions we're gonna have to go through is, when does jealousy start crossing the line into controlling?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Okay.
You grew out of unhealthy jealousy, it sounds like.
Unhealthy jealousy.
And you've managed to retain a healthy amount of jealousy.
Yes. A healthy amount being none for me,
Well, jealousy, there is going to be a healthy amount of jealousy. If you're not jealous, there's something deeply wrong with the relationship. Because you need to be able to have that jealousy for your wife, where if you see another man approaching her, right, you're going to be like, hey, I take offense to this, Like, for me as a guy, I want there to be some jealousy on your part with regards to me, and I want to be able to be jealous about you, right? I don't want us to have this whole willy-nilly, you go do whatever you want to do, right? And I won't even worry about you.
Also, you've been worrying this whole time?
Constantly, girl.
I did not know this.
Constantly.
Just brand new information. Okay.
Not in relation to guys approaching you or anything like that.
Yeah.
But just for you as a person, like when you go outside.
Yeah.
I want you to be able to cross the street safely.
In Shaa Allah.
Right?
I appreciate
without being accosted by annoying children.
Children, I don't mind.
Asking for candy or like handouts or something, like, bro, I know where you live. You guys are rich.
What do you think is going on in the streets? But there's no children aren't okay, all right. But I appreciate what you're saying. I think yes, you're right. You don't give me much reason to be jealous. I don't think you've ever given me a reason to be jealous, alhamdulillah. I think that's why I've calmed down. It's because you haven't given me any reasons.
Yeah.
But if you give me a reason, then we'll find out pretty quick.
Like
how healed that is.
How do you have squirrels and birds following you outside?
Me?
Yeah. I don't get it.
I haven't seen them.
Yeah, of course you haven't. Okay, you're going to tell me that you haven't seen, like, you're not a Disney princess over here just calling birds and squirrels and just having picnics with them.
You must be having me confused with one of your other women, my dear.
Martha,
Yes,
That's right.
it was more than.
That's right. That's not bad.
Okay, given all of that lovely information, we're going to get to the question. This week it's coming from the Muslim marriage subreddit. A sister asks, she says, long story short, my husband and I work at the same place. The other day we were taking a break together with a bunch of our other coworkers. Someone told a funny story regarding our work. The group laughed. My husband and I did too. My husband later told me that he observed the man telling the joke and that he looked a lot at me while I was laughing and looked proud for making me laugh. My husband told me it made him uncomfortable. I apologized and told him it wouldn't happen again and that I would keep my distance from the man in the future. My husband then continued to ignore me for 9 hours. No communication at all. He said he expected more from me and was disappointed. I don't know what to do now. Whenever my husband is hurt or angry, he does this even though I've told him how it makes me feel. If I'm hurt or angry and I don't tell him immediately, I'm causing drama and stressing him out. Any advice?
Okay, so this is a roller coaster.
It really is.
This is a roller coaster.
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand here the unhealthy jealousy that you're talking about. The guy gave her the silent treatment for 9 hours for something she didn't even do.
Exactly.
It was like, okay, you find a joke funny. Guess what? Laughter is involuntary. You know? How can you blame someone for laughing?
Not only that, the fact that the two of them, like, they're blessed, right? So the fact that they get to work in the same environment. So you're literally sitting there beside your spouse, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us that they're like garments for one another.
Yeah.
So she's literally sitting there beside you, and whether she's laughing or not in your presence, like it's like a cover. Right?
Yeah.
So it is a little bit unreasonable on the husband's part. And I would bet that there's probably something going on there, right? Maybe you never know, right? You never know. But based on the small amount of information in this question, I bet there's something going on with the husband in the background. Maybe he was experienced cheating in the past. Maybe he has a core wound, right? That's related to being abandoned, or related to being one of those not enough wounds. Somehow something was triggered, right? So the issue is not what was triggered. The conversation they had was very healthy, where he came over and he said, this is something that's bothering me, right? Like, hopefully it wasn't in an attacking manner of you did this and you did. No, hopefully it was more along the lines of, I felt such and such way when this happened and it just really hurt me. And they had that conversation and she said, okay, I understand. I'm going to keep my distance from such and such person.
Yeah.
And that should have been the end of it. But because it's still ongoing, that means something is going on here.
Yeah.
Whenever you see that a person, it could be even you, whenever you see your emotional response to a situation is out of proportion to the situation, that means there's a wound there. Something was touched that needs work. Yeah, that needs work. So the issue is that the brother is triggered.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's not the issue. Is his response to being triggered. He wasn't able to regulate in a way that
he shuts down.
Yeah, it would. That's not healthy. This is
common.
You
know what I would have done in that situation?
Mm-hmm.
I would have referenced that one guy, who's that rapper. So I would have been like, "What you looking at? What you looking at? I see your eyes. I'm not surprised."
Okay, so is he the rapper? Who's he rapping at?
I don't know. I saw him in American Idol once.
And you wanted to mention it? Okay.
Because the line right there.
Yeah.
It was those lines, those 4 lines.
Uh-huh.
Stop looking at my wife.
Oh, is
my
that what
wife?
It was?
My wife. My wife.
So you should have just rapped at the guy and that would have been the end of it? All right.
Yeah, but I would have also been like aggressively rapping.
Yeah.
Not very calm, like, hey, please stop. I would have been like heavy metal or something. I don't know.
We would have been both unemployed. But
yes,
immediately.
That was the goal. Anything to get you away from him.
Right?
It's
worth it.
I would punch the guy probably.
Yeah, but you're right. I think you're right that this brother does shutting down, and I think that the issue of the jealousy is not the biggest part of this question. The biggest part of this question is the silent. It feels like the silent treatment to her,
I feel like the silent treatment is just completely unnecessary.
In my opinion, the silent treatment is abusive, right? It can be, it can be abusive because I think there's two different kinds, right?
Yeah.
I think there's the one that's done intentionally in order to manipulate your spouse into stop doing this thing or to start doing this thing. Because when it's done repeatedly over and over again, then the other person that it's done to learns, like, this is really uncomfortable. I don't want to feel this way. Let me avoid the silent treatment. Let me just do this thing that they want. So it's manipulative.
Yeah.
But there's also the other kind of silent treatment, which is not actually, the intention is not to be manipulative. It's just that the person
shuts down.
Yeah, they shut down. They don't really know how to regulate without shutting down. So it's a byproduct. So it feels like a silent treatment, but that wasn't their intention, right? So this is not great. It doesn't matter which camp it falls in. Either way, it feels really terrible. Have you ever experienced a silent treatment?
Only when I go to the beach and it's completely full of emos.
Emos?
Yeah, emos.
Emos.
You know, the punk rock folks. Emos. Like, that's the only time I've ever experienced the silent treatment.
Okay.
Because they're just like all in the water. It's literally just an emo ocean.
All right. So I'm gonna say that. Take that as a no.
Yeah, I have.
You have.
Yeah.
When have you experienced it?
Previous marriage.
That's right. Okay, so yeah, so you know how bad it feels, how terrible it feels.
Not nice.
Yeah, it feels it's terrible. So how do we fix this?
By talking, I suppose.
How do you fix it with this couple, this specific couple, this young lady who's asking for advice?
Let me talk to the guy.
What do you say?
Be like, hey, yo, dude.
Mm-hmm.
She laughed.
Mm-hmm.
It was completely out of her control.
Yeah.
You brought it up to her.
Yeah.
She said, hey, I'm sorry you feel that way, or I'm sorry about this, right? Like, she apologized to him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if it was me, I wouldn't have apologized. I've been like, okay, well, I laughed. So she's better than me in that case. Right?
Yeah.
It was involuntary, right? And I can't control the dude's eyes.
Yeah.
You know? So I would have been like, okay, well, I understand that it angered you,
mm-hmm.
but like, you're talking to the wrong guy.
Yeah.
You should be telling them, hey, when you look at my wife this way, it makes me and her feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Right? So if you could not, please.
Yeah.
Right? But she apologized.
Which
is exceptional. That was actually very emotionally mature of her.
She just like you said, she's 100% better than me.
Mm-hmm.
But because she apologized, I don't know if I would have done that either.
Yeah, I would have been I would have been argumentative for sure. So
if this couple came and sat down, right, and they were in the coaching setting, my question to him would be, well, what happened in those 9 hours? What was going on in your mind? Right, just to try to understand what his point of view is.
Yeah.
To try to discern whether or not this was intentionally a silent treatment situation, or if he was just overwhelmed by the emotions. Maybe it reminded him.
Babe, no, 9 hours. 9 hours is intentional. That's what I would say. Like,
I've seen it before. I've seen people shut down for days.
Well, no, I would say if you shut down for days,
mm-hmm.
then it's no longer unintentional,
mm-hmm.
right? Because you fell asleep.
Yeah.
You had a dream. A wonderful dream, most likely.
Yeah.
Right? You woke up, you had breakfast, just the birds singing, new day. And you're still giving them the silent treatment.
Yeah.
You know, like, no, well, I mean, 9 hours is just excessive. 9 hours to me in any capacity seems intentional.
So your approach would be to speak reason to him, right? And to help him to understand that this way is the right way. So as a coach, what my goal would be to understand his experience, right? To get him to articulate, well, what's going on in your mind? What is it like on your end?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he would, because part of my goal would be to find out, well, is there a core wound? What is it that's creating this big emotional reaction to this relatively small situation? Like, what was the core wound that was touched on, right? And how did it feel? Like, to give me a little bit of the background, the history of that. That would be the goal of coaching. to try to figure that out. So, and then to use that information to help him to start to process whatever is that core wound, and then to also give him the information about what it feels like for his wife. Because I'm assuming the best, right? Assuming that the brother is not a manipulator. I always assume the best. Assuming that he's not a manipulator and that this is just him dealing with a core wound. Then in that case, he wouldn't understand how much this is upsetting his wife. That's just information he doesn't have. And that if he had that information, hopefully then he'd be like, I'm so sorry. I didn't know that this was so painful for you. And to give them a strategy in the future, when he feels like he wants to when he wants to shut down, give them tools so that doesn't happen again, so that they have healthier conflict resolution where they come back to the table sooner. So that would be in coaching. Now, if let's say she doesn't, odds are she's not going to find me. She's not going to hear this on the internet. But if somebody is in a similar situation and they want to solve this on their own, how would they go about? So this is clearly a conversation that needs to be had. How would she go about having this conversation?
Are needles allowed?
Not in this case, no.
Okay, so we could only use our voice?
The whole time.
Okay. I'm going to have to rethink my answer.
What would the needle have been for?
Just making sure the guy understands that you're the one in charge here.
Okay. So what I would recommend for the sister is that the goal of so she's gonna sit down, obviously, and have a discussion, go through the 5 steps that we've outlined so many times. In Shaa Allah, if you have any questions about what those 5 steps are, the best episode to go through is the 2nd episode, called the first year of marriage. And I think we also did another episode called I forget what it's called, but it's about fighting a lot in marriage. I think it was like 10 episodes ago. Mm-hmm. So to go through either of those 2 episodes, we go through those steps a lot in pretty good detail. But she's gonna have to have a discussion and go through these 5 steps, right? And with one of the goals of this discussion, actually the most important goal, is for her to convey and help him understand how painful the silence is. So let's not call it a silent treatment. Let's just say the silence. How painful the silence is on her end. And all of the emotions that she must be going through, and the self-doubt and the questioning, and the effect that it has on her moving forward, where she can explain to him, I'm worried that I can't come to you in the future. Because if things, trigger you in the future, then it might lead to another silent. So it's pushing me away. So to help him understand what it feels like for her and the emotional consequences of that, that would be the goal of that discussion. And hopefully with that information, it'll help him to not do that again, or at least to do that a lot less.
Yeah. You know how they say silence can fill a room?
Mm-hmm.
And it can be suffocating?
Yes, it is. It can.
Imagine if silence were gas.
Oh.
Right? Like a
terrible.
Flammable gas.
Of course.
And healthy communication between husband and wife were the only light source in this dark room. It's an actual flame.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
And so if you poison the room with silence,
mm-hmm.
you guys can never see each other.
Oh, that's true.
Because you'll be afraid of setting off the wrong trigger.
That's a beautiful analogy, right? That's a beautiful analogy. I like that. So the more silence that there is in the room, the more afraid that you are of communicating.
Yeah.
Of turning on any light source. Yeah, pretty much. That's exactly what it is. I think I'm going to write that down somewhere.
Yep, thought about it just a minute ago.
I'm very impressed. So that's what that is. So that's the conversation that the sister needs to have with her husband, is about helping him to understand what it feels like to be experiencing the silence, and how painful it is, and how it makes it so that she doesn't really want to come to him in the future out of fear of triggering another silent treatment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully having that information will help him to make cope faster.
Yeah.
Or cope more efficiently next time. So now we're coming to the other question, right? The other question we asked at the beginning of this podcast of, first of all, when does jealousy start to cross the line into controlling or unhealthy behaviors?
So I gave a meme answer last time.
A little bit, yeah.
It's definitely not what I actually think.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, well, when does jealousy become controlling?
Mm-hmm.
That's when, like, honestly, it's tough to answer. Like, a real world scenario, let's say there's husband A, wife A, right? And then wife B and C and D.
Okay. You just
no,
want
in
to say
this case, in this case, husband A, wife A.
Okay.
The husband sees the wife at a work function.
Okay.
Right? And she's talking with the coworkers, but she spends just a little bit too much time talking with Mark. Right? And he says, "All right, everybody, it was a pleasure seeing y'all. We gotta go." Right? And he ends the work function early for the family. They go home. She's like, "What was that about?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well, why did you talk with Mark for so long?
Yeah.
What were you guys talking about?" And she was like, "Well, Mark's working with me on a project, right? Like, we were assigned this task, and I was just going through everything we need to do." And he's like, "Okay, well, why don't you guys do that at work? Why do you guys got to do that at work function?" And she's like, "Chill, dude. I'm just doing my job, you know? Like, you don't help me with the cleaning of the house. You don't help me with the children. You know, you expect me to do my job at work and then do everything here. Here I am with a chance to talk with my colleagues outside of work, and I'm just getting ahead of things, you know? Like, I'm swamped." And he's like, "That doesn't matter. I don't want you to talk to anyone."
All right, so is that healthy or unhealthy?
That's very healthy.
Is it?
No, it's not.
Oh, I was worried. It sounded like, all right, so that's an example of unhealthy.
Yeah.
All right, let's try to understand why that's unhealthy. Like, when did it cross from healthy to unhealthy?
I feel like it crossed the boundary into unhealthy when he decided to end the work function early.
I think if he felt some type of way and they had an agreement ahead of time, right? Like, you and I had this conversation, and I recommend every couple has this conversation at the beginning of their marriage of where exactly are each of your boundaries, so that you understand where your spouse's boundaries are, so that you need to have that map in place for when you deal with people of the opposite gender, right?
Yeah.
So let's say they had this discussion ahead of time and they had both agreed upon it, but this had crossed that boundary for him. Right?
Yeah.
So I think that ending the work function is still okay. I think the issue is that when she has given her explanation and her explanation is reasonable.
Yeah.
I mean, it's reasonable in her saying, "Well, we're at, he's my work colleague. The only thing that I have to talk to him about is work."
Yeah.
So we were talking about work, and it just went on too long, right?
Yeah.
Which is reasonable. When he didn't accept that, that's when it became unhealthy. So I know it's an extremely vague line to use, a vague threshold to use. But when the jealousy becomes unreasonable, then it starts to cross the line into unhealthy. So, for instance, healthy jealousy might simply be, in my opinion, each person has their own personal boundary, right? Like, an example could be, a wife is upset that her husband is following a number of women on Instagram. This is extremely common. Unfortunately, extremely common. So she tells him, I don't want you following all these women on Instagram, especially because they look nothing like me, right?
Yeah.
This is making me feel insecure about that. Maybe you don't like to look at me because these are the type of women that you like to look at. So this is a healthy version of jealousy.
Yeah.
But if she takes his fault, like if she starts becoming like, if there are now either unreasonable asks, right, or behaviors associated with this, then it starts to cross the line into unhealthy jealousy, where she says, "I'm gonna take your phone now."
Yeah.
And I'm gonna check your phone all of the time. to make sure that you're not following these people, in order to feel secure again.
Yeah.
So that could be when it starts crossing the line from reasonable to unreasonable is when it starts to become unhealthy. I know it's a little bit vague. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another common example is, definitely because of the economy, both husband and wives often have to go out. And so even if the economy is perfect, sometimes the wife really likes what she does, right? And wants to go outside and work, which is reasonable. That's something that you have to discuss before marriage, agree upon before marriage. And you've agreed upon before marriage that you're going to work outside the home, so you work outside the home as a wife. And then your husband starts making asks. For example, he sees that one of your work colleagues is messaging you at home.
Yeah.
He's text messaging you on your phone. It could be a day that you have day off, and it's the middle of the day, which are traditionally work hours, and he's asking for a password for something. And he says, hey, what's going on there? Why is he messaging you? And you explain to him, he needed my password in order to get into this and this and this. Oh, okay. It's reasonable.
Unhealthy is like, what? You don't ever give me your password.
All right, that's weird. That's a little bit weird.
You're favoring him.
A little bit.
And then she's like, dude, I literally cook for you.
Yeah.
I'm favoring you.
Yeah, you've won. These are our children.
Yeah.
Exhibit A and Exhibit B.
Look around. Where do you think you are?
Exactly. But it's reasonable for him to ask the question, right? And that response makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's reasonable for him to say, oh, okay, and we'll move on. Let's say the text messages are coming at nighttime, outside of work hours. There's very few explanations that are going to be reasonable after work hours. But even if she gives one that's reasonable, it's still reasonable for him to say, hey, can you make it so that he doesn't text you when you're at work? Sorry, when you're not at work, right?
Yeah.
Just makes me very uncomfortable. Yeah. That's a reasonable ask.
This is what I would think, right? If I were the husband, coworker texts you during work hours. And he's asking for the password. I'm like, oh, he just wants the password to the account.
Yeah.
Coworker texts you after work hours at night. He's asking for the password. I'm like, oh, he wants the password to you.
Yeah, pretty much. Right? So again, husband is being reasonable in both scenarios. Now, the husband will start crossing into unreasonable if in the first scenario, when she tells him he just needed the account password, he says, no, I need you to no more texting. You know what? Yeah. I don't want you to work there anymore.
Yeah.
That's starting to cross the line, right? Into unreasonable. So it's really hard because each situation is unique, right? So you just have to use your judgment situation by situation. But in general, as long as things are reasonable, especially within the bounds of Islam, then it's okay.
Islamically, he can ask her to not work, right?
This is what I mean. Islamically, the smart thing to do is to have these conversations before marriage, to understand where each of your expectations are with the role expectations, including who's working and who's not working, and working where, like as much as you can decide upon before you get married.
Yeah.
Another smart conversation to have, and you and I had this, is where are your lines? Right. And just to present scenarios and say, well, what if this is a common scenario where somebody says, well, I have a cousin that I grew up with that's the opposite gender that I talk to all the time.
Yeah.
Like, is that something that you're comfortable with? To figure out where each other's lines are. And if your spouse says, you know what, I'm really not comfortable with that. Yeah. Honestly, that's fair. Right. That's fair. If your spouse says, you know, I'm really not comfortable with you talking to him or talking to her. And I don't feel comfortable with you having friends who are the opposite gender, you know, cousin or not.
Yeah.
That's a fair, like, you don't try to move that ballot. You just say, okay, all right, I'm glad to know where your line is. And all that's left for you is to either accept their terms or walk away because you're not married yet at this point, right? So that's why it's smart to have those conversations before you get married so that after you get married, you now have a roadmap, a guide map on what it is, where it is that each of your lines are, right? And knowing where each of your lines are, you'll now know what's reasonable and what's unreasonable within those outline lines.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the best way to approach it. Okay, so now how do you deal? So let's say you're a jealous person and you find yourself getting caught up, oftentimes being the one who's unreasonable.
Yeah.
Because of the big feelings that come with being jealous. How do you deal with that?
Divorce. Straight away, straight to jail.
Straight to jail?
Yeah.
And just never get married again?
Just finish.
Yeah, the best way to beat jealousy is not to have anyone to be jealous of, right?
Exactly.
Just thinking ahead.
At that point, why not just rob a bank?
Why does it always come back to... Why is that the solution to so many problems?
Not that kind of bank. No, the bank we talked about in the prior episode.
Oh, the one I didn't know what you were talking about.
It was a fertility bank.
Is that what that was?
Yeah, because you said surrogacy.
Oh, all right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a deep cut. It's a shallow cut. It's only one episode away. Okay. But if we... Okay, so let's talk about how you start to heal your own jealousy, right? Because I used to be a jealous person. It's the key to understanding your jealousy is jealousy is always based upon a fear, right? A fear. The key to start to address that fear is to start by naming it. What is it that I'm afraid of, right? I always give the analogy of when you go to the doctor, right? And they tell you lie down. I'm going to now press down on your abdomen, your stomach to see where it is that hurts. So they press down on your stomach, and when they find the place that hurts, you go, ow. So when you're trying to find a fear, it's the emotional equivalent of that, where you're searching within yourself and saying, okay, what is it I'm afraid of? Am I afraid that they're gonna leave? I'm afraid that he's going to leave me? Is that what I'm worried of? No, that's not it. Am I afraid that he's going to confirm the fact that I'm not good enough for him, and that he's going to choose somebody else because I'm just not good enough, worthy of staying for? Ding, ding, ding. That's the one.
Ding, ding, ding.
Right? So you just go through different, and there you can find lists all over the internet. If you just write emotional fears into Google, give examples. You can ask ChatGPT. You can do so many things to find different examples and feel out within yourself what it is that you resonate with most, right? So for me, it was that one that I listed of, is it going to feel like it's confirming that I'm not good enough to stay with? Like, why not me? Or why not me fear? Once you start to understand that, then you can now address the fear, because jealousy is a symptom of the underlying fear.
Yeah.
And you'll find that underlying fear causes so many different symptoms. One of them, it happens to be jealousy, right? So focus on addressing.
Humans,
yeah, focus on addressing the fear rather than the jealousy. So once you start to work on, and there's many different ways to start to do this work, of the not good enough wound, that I'm not deserving wound. There's different ways that you can start to reprogram this fear. This is something that I go through with clients when they ask for it specifically. Then you'll find out that the jealousy starts to go away, right? A common fear that we can talk, because the not good enough wound takes a little bit more time. It's a little bit more in depth. We won't have enough time to address that. But the one that's faster to address is the fear of abandonment. That, let's say that you're doing this exercise and you find out that I'm afraid that I'm going to be alone. It's not so much as that they'll leave. What I'm afraid of is that I'm going to be alone, right? And if you explore this fear of I'm going to be alone, it'll usually come down to, I'm afraid that I won't be okay when I'm alone. That's the bedrock of where that fear comes from for some people. If that's what it is for you, how you can start to address that is understand that there are many times you've been okay, right? You have a long history of being okay when you're alone.
Yeah.
And to start to reinforce within yourself that if this person leaves, I'll be okay. I'll survive. I've survived before, and I can survive again.
I'm a survivor. You
are a survivor, right? If I'm alone, I'll be okay. I've been okay before, and I can be okay. It's uncomfortable.
Make it.
Yeah. Do you want to do all the lyrics?
You caught on.
Of course I did.
Okay.
All right, Destiny. All right, so it's
I'm not Destiny. I'm just a child.
Okay. That's we're showing our age. We need to stop this. But that's how you start to address that, by reinforcing within yourself through affirmations. There's a little exercise, a CBT exercise, of writing out in a book, a piece of paper, a number of columns. Something we go through a different day on a different episode. But there's different strategies that you can do to start to reprogram within yourself that if I'm alone, I'll be okay. I've been okay before, and I can be okay again. And once that fear goes away, you stop worrying about the jealousy. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You no longer have a reason to be jealous, because if your spouse meets somebody else and they leave, it's going to hurt a lot, but you'll be okay.
You'll be okay.
Yeah. Again, another one of those abstracts. I apologize. I've been trying to stay away from them.
I have something more solid.
I'll go for it.
This is going to be one of the last things I say today.
All right.
So there is this guy who orchestrated a bank heist.
Coming back to the bank.
And he was stationed outside the bank across the street on a rooftop behind the bushes with the binoculars, and he's watching the bank for movement. After like 15 minutes, he's like, "What's going on here?" And he calls his crew and he says, "Hello, guys, where are you? You were supposed to be there 10 minutes ago." And they said, "What? No, we already hit the bank." They didn't have money though. They just had these weird packets of yogurt.
Oh my God. You stayed at the fertility bank?
Yeah.
Oh goodness. That's vile. I apologize. I apologize to especially the woman. I apologize. Okay, let's move on. Shake it off. Shake it off. Keep shaking. All right, so that's inshallah. I'm just gonna pretend that didn't happen. Inshallah, that was clear. What we said was clear.
Yeah.
Yeah, you good?
It's gonna take a while for me to recover from that.
You're breathing? Okay.
I told the joke and I'm the one that left.
Yes. Okay, so inshallah, hopefully through all of those ramblings, it started to make sense a little bit. So I will be writing a blog about this as well, inshallah, specifically about jealousy and how to start to manage it if you're a jealous person. Feel free to I will post the link in the description, inshallah, but you can always find everything in the Muslim Marriage blog on our website at ZahraHassanCoaching.com/the Muslim Marriage blog. I think that's everything that we covered here for the sister and for jealousy in general.
You've cured my jealousy.
Okay, I'm so glad. Do you have any non-vile things to add? Anything else? You're good?
Yeah.
Okay, what would you like to add?
You look great today.
Oh, that's amazing. Jazaa K'Allah Khayr. I appreciate that. That means a lot. Okay. Do you want to add more things?
No.
You're good?
Yeah, we've covered everything.
Literally everything.
We've literally milked this topic dry.
No. Okay. I apologize deeply and sincerely if you're still here. Malish. We appreciate you choosing to spend your time. I mean, clearly it wasn't a wise decision, but we appreciate you choosing to spend your time with us. We appreciate each and every single one of you. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please subscribe. It really helps us out. We're trying to get to 250 subscribers. We're very excited about that. We're very close. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. If you are a wife, a woman, or a man, and you are looking for marriage coaching, I offer marriage coaching. I will post the link to that in the description as well at ZahraHassanCoaching.com/marriage coaching. I think that's it. Those are all the things. So, Jazaa K'Allah Khayr. Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you in the next episode. Have a great weekend. And assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.